In the beginning of June 2023, authorities were notified of a domestic dispute taking place in Greeley, Colorado. They arrived at the home of 15-year-old Lily Silva Lopez, who reported that her 16-year-old boyfriend, Jovanni Sirio Cardona, had punched her in the face and hurt her arm because she was trying to break up with him. A week later, on June 16th, Jovanni was at home with his grandmother, and it was around 3:45 in the afternoon. His grandma looks outside after hearing a bit of commotion to find that her house is being surrounded by police. She turns to her grandson to ask him what in the world is going on, and he looks at her and replies, "I did what I had to do." Born in Greeley, Colorado on June 21st, 2007, Lily Lopez was a bright light in the world from the day she was born. She was one of 4 children, and she and her siblings were raised in Greeley by her parents Alma and Hector Silva. That's where she would attend school throughout her early years, before eventually beginning her journey throughout Northridge High School. Academically, she was a stellar student who was always focused on doing her best and bringing home good grades. If you ask those closest to her who Lily was, they would tell you she was incredibly intelligent and hardworking. She was also very loving, with an extraordinarily bright attitude. She always wanted to do the right thing, and she would help anybody that needed it. She had been working at Wing Shack for a while, and she loved and cared about the people she worked with as well, taking her job there seriously. She was just putting her life together as a young teenager. When she wasn't focused on her next goal and had some free time, things that she enjoyed doing were hanging out with her best friend, going shopping, eating her favorite food, enchiladas. She was also really into makeup and dancing, which were things she was really good at. She was flourishing as a 15-year-old, finding out who she was, what she liked, and just learning the world. Unfortunately, the relationship that she found herself in turned deadly in less than a year. For 6 months leading up to June in 2023, Lily had been dating Jovanni Sirio Cardona, a boy in her area who was 1 year older than her. According to her mother and reports, their 6-month relationship was not smooth sailing at all. It was plagued with domestic violence that got way out of hand extremely quickly. After a few months of dating each other, Lily came to the conclusion that she wasn't as happy or invested in the relationship as she once was in the beginning, and she wanted to move on. So Lily told Jovanni that she wanted to end the relationship, and when she told him, he completely lost his mind, and he starts screaming at her and threatening her, and then he takes it a step further. Apparently he had a firearm in his possession somehow, so he takes the gun and puts the barrel of it in Lily's mouth and tells her she wasn't going to break up with him and she needed to tell him she loved him. Being this was a 15-year-old girl, she was probably traumatized and terrified of what may happen to her now, but she stood strong in wanting to leave Jovanni. However, she didn't want to further upset or worry her mother, who knew she was in this situation, so she decided not to tell her about what happened. After it took place though, Lily felt like she needed to confide in somebody, so she opened up to a cousin of hers about it, and after that, her cousin felt like she had to tell her mom about what was truly going on, and that's how Lily's mom learned that it happened. This isn't the only previous incident that we know of either. There was a second situation following this one where the police were involved. I mentioned it in the beginning. On June 10th, 2023, authorities responded to Lily's house because she had called for them, once again for a domestic dispute between her and Cardona. When they arrived, she reported that he punched her in the face and hurt her arm, leaving her in pain and furthering her fear of him. I don't know if anything came of that report or if he was ever contacted by police. These are just some of the incidents that we know about in their relationship. What about the ones we're unaware of? Lily was an incredibly smart 15-year-old girl who must have been aware that she was in a very dangerous situation that she needed to get out of desperately, because she continued denying the relationship with him. After threatening her by putting a gun in her mouth and punching her in the face because she didn't want to be with him, she made it clear that she wanted nothing else to do with him. 4 weeks later, he got the message, but he was too weak to accept it, and he couldn't handle the fact that she no longer wanted to be with him. deciding that he needed to take drastic measures to get his way. On June 16th, around 3:45 in the afternoon, Lily was at home with her younger brother, and their parents weren't home for the day yet. Her little brother was in a different room by himself, just chilling and watching TV, when all of a sudden, he hears his older sister start screaming at the top of her lungs, and he can tell immediately that she's in serious danger. Jovanni had forced his way into their home wielding a handgun. At first, I ignorantly thought she screamed for her little brother to come help her, because it's unclear how old he is. He could be a year younger than her, and I couldn't have been more wrong. She immediately began yelling out to her younger brother to just run, get out of the house and save your own life. After breaking his way into the home, he started to shoot, shooting Lily 7 times in the process as she collapsed onto the hallway floor. Her little brother was running and stopped when he saw his sister laying in the hallway, with Jovanni standing above her with a gun in hand. He realized that his sister was just brutally gunned down by this kid, so he started pleading with him to not shoot him. Jovanni would instead take the boy's phone so he would be unable to call for help, and then he would order her brother to help him move Lily's body back into one of the bedrooms. It's unclear what he said back to him or if he just stood there frozen in fear. I also don't know exactly how old he is, but he had to be petrified, thinking he was about to lose his life next after witnessing what he just did. However, eventually the teen shooter would pull Lily's body back into her bedroom by himself before he took off out of the house. Lily was still laying in the hallway in a pool of her own blood after being shot, and her little brother had to sprint over to the closest neighbor's house to have them call 911 since he didn't have his phone anymore. Paramedics arrived and did everything they could to save 15-year-old Lily, but tragically she was pronounced dead on the scene.
And then ran to Antoinette Martinez for help. She called 911 and later found out domestic violence was involved.
I'm sad. That makes me sad because I don't know why someone would do something so awful.
A brief time later that day, Jovanni was back at his grandmother's house, and she was shocked to find her property being surrounded by police. When she realized that this was all happening, she turned to Jovanni to ask him, what in the world is going on? And he would reply to her, I did what I had to do and I shot someone. It's unclear if he said anything else to her before he was arrested. He was taken into custody, and since then, the courts have decided to charge him as an adult, which is one of the main reasons his name was released as a juvenile. He is currently being charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of aggravated robbery, first-degree burglary, and possession of a handgun by a juvenile. After being booked into jail, the judge would set his bail at a hefty $2 million. 2 days prior to the killing, Jovanni was seen apparently surveying the residents of the Lopez, most likely planning how he was going to break into their home. Reports say that he was just standing outside of their house, quote-unquote stalking her, and then after he looked at their house for a while, he just disappeared. On the day that she was killed, he was seen on camera sprinting down a path that led towards her house, furthering the evidence that it was him. On top of the fact that it didn't take much time at all for the little brother to allege who the shooter was, saying it was her ex-boyfriend Cardona. I'm not really sure how it works with him being a juvenile, but I assume since he's being charged as an adult and we already know his name, we will get more information on this case as it comes out. Lily Silva Lopez was without a doubt finding her way as a young teenager. She was so excited about the things she was doing and accomplishing with each year she got older. She was so excited about the upcoming summer because she was going to be getting her license. She was truly growing quick for a 15-year-old. She is being remembered for so many great things, like her one-of-a-kind bright personality and amazing sense of humor. Her heart was as big and as warm as they come, with a spirit that just couldn't be defeated. She was murdered just 5 days before her 16th birthday, which was supposed to be just one of many, many more to come. And now her family is forced to live without her. Rest in peace to Lily Silva Lopez.
Letting memories go.
Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you made it to the end, go down to the comment section and comment ridiculous so I know. And if you want to, you can follow me on Instagram at Robert Clausen with 2 N's. If you have a story suggestion, DM me on there. I think that's all I have for you guys today. Again, I truly appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.